9 rocket is in startup mode.
LD is go for launch.
Launch Director John Murator gives his final go for launch. T-minus 48 seconds and counting. Terminal count begins in 5 seconds. The pad water deluge system will be activated at T-minus 18 seconds.
30 seconds and counting.
The main engine controller will command the engine sequence start 3 seconds away from liftoff. T-minus 20 seconds.
Stage 1 pressing for flight. T-minus 15. Minus 10, 9,
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And the liftoff of the Falcon 9 rocket and Dragon spacecraft, filled with science and supplies for humanity's research outpost in low Earth orbit, the International Space Station.
SpaceX ascent commentary will be performed by several people. The propulsion engineer calls out propulsion events. The avionics engineer calls out avionics health and Dragon separation. The range coordinator calls out Air Force satellite control network acquisition and loss of signal. And the ground station specialist calls out the SpaceX antenna acquisition and loss of signal.
At 1 minute 5 seconds after liftoff, Falcon 9 reaches transonic speed. The vehicle will pass through an area of maximum dynamic pressure, known as max Q, at 1 minute 18 seconds after liftoff. This is the point where mechanical stress on the rocket reaches its peak because of the rocket's velocity and resistance created by Earth's atmosphere.
Around 2 minutes 24 seconds into the flight, the 9 Merlin engines will sequentially shut down, and you'll hear the call MECO, which is main engine cutoff. This first stage will perform a boost back burn about 15 seconds later, heading back to nearby Cape Canaveral Air Force Station Landing Zone 1. We'll show you the landing on NASA TV about 8 minutes after launch, accompanied by the sonic boom just before landing.
Evac engine chill has started.
One minute 50 seconds into the flight of Falcon, carrying Dragon toward the International Space Station. Standing by for main engine cutoff.
We have MECO.
And we have MECO, main engine cutoff. All 9 Falcon 9 engines have shut down as planned.
And the first and second stages have separated as planned.
7 seconds after separation, the second stage's single Merlin vacuum engine ignites to begin a 6.5 minute burn that brings Dragon into low Earth orbit. The engines produce 210,000 pounds of thrust. At 3 minutes 4 seconds into flight, Dragon's protective nose cone, which covers Dragon's berthing mechanism, will be jettisoned.
Three minutes 8 seconds into flight.
Boost back burn shut down.
And the first stage boost back burn has shut down as expected. Second stage carrying Dragon continues on its way toward the International Space Station.
joined us. We've had a successful launch of Falcon 9 for Dragon to the International Space Station. We have had a stage separation, and on the left-hand side is the first stage, Falcon 9, returning back to landing zone 1 in Florida.
We just had a phenomenal camera shot from our ground tracking cameras of the first stage and second stage separating, and then that first stage boost back burn. Currently, the first stage on the left-hand side of your screen is about to enter its re-entry burn phase. This is when it slows itself down before it hits the dense part of the atmosphere so that there's no aerodynamic heating of those engines which are coming in head first.
And that shot that you see on the right-hand side of your screen, that is the second stage engine glowing brightly. Personally, one of my favorite shots that we can get during a launch as it carries Dragon towards the International Space Station. So first stage on the left-hand side, second stage on the right.
On the left-hand side, that first stage, you can see those cold gas thrusters. Those are orienting the stage as it goes to the upper regions of the atmosphere. And then as the air gets thicker and thicker on its way down, we start using those grid fins, which you just saw deploy, to steer the stage back towards a safe landing at Cape Canaveral Air Force Station, landing zone 1.
Yeah. So we have a total of 3 burns that the first stage will perform. You've already saw the boost back burn. We're getting ready for the re-entry burn, and that's to slow it down. And then finally the landing burn. The landing burn. And we're about 30 seconds away from that re-entry.
You can actually see the edge of Cape Canaveral in the screen on the left-hand side there. So as we get closer and closer to the ground, we should be able to get continuous video all the way down towards touching down on that pad.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Daytime launch, can't get any better than that. They're gorgeous shots.
Remember, on the right-hand side, the primary mission, that's a camera mounted towards the bottom of the second stage. On top of that second stage, the Dragon spacecraft. Let's get an update on how it's doing right now.
We're at T+. Nominal.
Everything going well with Stage 2 carrying Dragon to the
Stage 1 AFTS has saved.
International Space Station.
Stage 1 is transonic.
Stage 1 is past the speed of sound. It's now subsonic.
Landing burn startup.
Landing burn underway. First stage landing legs will be deployed shortly. And a sonic boom passes across the Florida Space Coast. As the Falcon 9 first stage makes a pinpoint landing back at landing zone 1 at Cape Canaveral Air Force Station.
LZ1, the F9 has landed. Landing operators proceed to procedure 11.100, section 3 on LZ1 net.
Meanwhile, in space, stage 2 of the Falcon 9 continues to carry the Dragon spacecraft. We're 8 minutes, 12 seconds after launch. Less than a minute away from second stage engine cutoff. That's scheduled for a mission lap time.
LDN countdown.
9 minutes, 5 seconds.
Copy.
.30 seconds away from second stage engine cutoff.
Second stage AFTS has saved.
.10 seconds away from second stage engine cutoff. And SECO is confirmed. In about a minute, at a mission elapsed time of 10 minutes, 5 seconds, Dragon will separate from Falcon 9's second stage, and seconds later, Dragon will reach its preliminary orbit.
Acquisition of signal Newfoundland.
Standing by for spacecraft separation. And Dragon is making its way away from the Falcon 9 second stage with the Earth limb in the background, headed toward its destiny and a rendezvous with the International Space Station on Sunday.
At 12 minutes into flight, the Dragon will deploy its solar arrays, and then after that begin a carefully choreographed series of Draco thruster firings to reach the space station.
Looking at the second stage engine, which did its job. And now a live view of controllers at the SpaceX Mission Control Center in Hawthorne, California.
Less than a minute away from solar array deploy.
Dragon makes its way away from the second stage. First part of its mission underway.
Dragon's propulsion system has successfully primed and all thrusters report ready for firing.